Hello Stampers, I've got a fun little card for you today, and this one is using the bear from the Wildlife Wonder stamp set from Stampin' Up. And I'm also using the Let's Go Fishing Designer Series paper for this project. But this one has a window sheet in the front. And this gives you a lot of depth in your project because you can put what's in your foreground on your window sheet and then have your design inside the card. So I love this design. And I used the Let's Go Fishing Designer Series paper here. This is a great Guy Designer Series paper. And one side, I'm going to show you here, one side has this great plaid. And then the other side has all these fish on it. Now this is just one sheet in the back. There is all kinds of different manly designs in here. But the fish in my project, I'm going to be cutting out of this Designer Series paper. There he is right there. He's on here multiple times. So that's what I did there, and I know that they're going to go together because it's one pack and it's the reverse side of one of the sheets. So I know those two designer papers will go well together. So here is the Wildlife Wonder stamp set. It's in the annual catalog. Has these great nature images in it. I've used this owl quite a few times. Actually, I've used all of them quite a few times. This has been a really favorite of mine, especially for manly type cards. So let's get going on our main panel here. And our main panel is the inside of the card. Now this is an easy one to do. And I'm going to show you here. We're going to start with our basic white panel that's 4 by 5.25. You can find all the dimensions for this card down below this video. Just click show more and you'll see it there along with all the links to the products that'll take you to my online store where you can pick them up. So I have this 4 by 5.25 basic white panel, and on it I masked for the moon. Now you can use any size circle. I used a 1-inch circle punch, but you could use any size circle for that. And what you do is you just take a double layer of Post-it notes. So I have a double layer here, and I just punched it out of the sticky part of a Post-it note. So I use a double layer just so that color doesn't soak through where I don't want it, because I want my moon to be nice and bright white. So we're going to get going, or actually it's a sun this time. It could be a sun or a moon, right? So I'm going to start with wild wheat. Now this whole background is done with wild wheat color. And I'm just using it in different strengths. So for the whole background here, I'm just going to lightly go over this panel with wild wheat and see how it's I'm doing it very lightly. I just want some of that color on here. And I'm going over the whole thing. That kind of gives them a base coat for my panel. And plus, it'll make that sun stand out when we get done here. So I'm still staying with the wild wheat. But I need a mask for my hills in the background. So I'm just taking one Post-it note. This is a 3 by 5. And I'm going to rip in the bottom of the Post-it note a hill shape. So I'm going to kind of tilt this way, and I have my hill shape in there, and I'm right below that sun shape. And now I'm going to put this on a little darker here, and I'll go clear to the bottom. So there is my top hill, and then you can like tilt it the other direction. And you can put in a second hill if you want. You don't see a lot of this until you open the card. And then you'll see it in there. So there is my second hill. So that was really easy. That's our background. That was all done with a blending brush and that wild wheat. It's just different strengths. Okay, so now I'm just going to take that sun mask off there, and we're going to set this aside for a moment. Next, I just want to take care of my bear. He's like my center, really main image of this whole card. So I've got my bear. I've got some Pecan Pie cardstock here. This is a 3.5 by 4 inch piece. You can use scrap for this, just as long as it's big enough to stamp that big old bear on. He's quite large, and I'm going to ink him up real good. And this is with Early Espresso. So I wanted a brown bear, so I'm using that dark brown ink on this Pecan Pie cardstock, and I think that makes him look really, really good. So there he is. And that was done with Early Espresso on Pecan Pie. So next I'm just going to cut this image out really quick here. I wouldn't call this bear cute. He's kind of rough looking. He's not your cutesy bear. He's more realistic looking. Right? So I think the men will just love this image. Just using my paper snips to cut this little guy out. He's not a hard one to cut out. His angles are pretty rounded. Here we go. So he's all ready to go. Isn't he cute? Now, I wouldn't put like anything on the back or anything, because this is going to show through when you open up your card. You have your bear here. So I would just keep it nice and blank on the back. I made the mistake first of stamping it once. I didn't like the way it stamped, so I tried a different color on the back side of my paper. And then when I cut it out and went to put it on, I'm like, oh, well, you can see that messed up one on the back. Yeah, we live and we learn, right? So we're going to set him aside. Now we need a fish, and I'm just going to cut this out of that Let's Go Fishing Designer Series paper. Let's just get all our images out here and done. You could have picked any fish on that paper. It would have went fine. Again, this is an easy one to cut out. I don't mind fussy cutting. I know everybody's into using dies all the time, but I find cutting out things calming. So there's our fish. He's all done. He's ready to go. And next we're going to take our main panel here. This is our card base. And this is Early Espresso, and it's 4 1/4 by 7. And we're going to score this at 5 1/2. You only have to do one score line. So I have my Simply Scored board out here, and I have it set at 5 1/2, and I'm just going to draw this straight down. There we go. I'm just going to turn that over and just give it a crease with my bone folder. And then I just need to put my window sheet on here. Now, I didn't use a traditional window sheet. I'm kind of frugal with this. You can use the window sheet and cut it down to, let's see, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But I took the insert to one of my new stamp sets. I'm going to show you a lot of these stamp sets, the polymer stamp sets, come like this. This is just one of the Hostess sets that we have right now. It's really pretty. It's Night of Flight. has all these moth images on it. If you haven't seen it, look in the back of the annual catalog. But what I'm going to show you here is all these images are on the back of the cover. So when you take them off, you get this light sheet on top. And then you can take your images and just put them right in here. You don't need this like window sheet type material. So I just save these up and then I use them for window sheets in my cards. So that's what I do with mine anyway. So that's where mine came from, but you can use a traditional window sheet is fine if you don't have those. So I'm going to take some Stampin' Seal here, and I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal right above that crease there that we made. And this is going to hold our window sheet on. Now I'm laying the window sheet on and taking it up to the crease, and then I'm just going to fold that over onto it. There we go. And then for the bottom, I'm going to take a piece of cardstock here. This is early espresso. And this is 1 by 4 1/4, and this is going to go on the bottom here. And I'm just going to take and rip just a tiny bit off the very top of this. I just wanted that rough ground look. So I'm just taking just a little bit. See, just a little bit of that off. And it gives you that rough edge. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal again. I know this is odd. You probably hardly ever see me use Stampin' Seal, right? So I'm just using my Stampin' Seal on this. And I'm going to put this on the bottom of the front window sheet. So I have that window sheet on there, and it's going at the very bottom of it. There we go. And inside, I'm going to go ahead and put my little background panel in here. I'm just going to use multi-purpose glue for this. And I'm going to center it up on the inside here. You're going to have a little edge all the way around it. There we go. And then this piece here is going to go on the bottom on the inside. So I'm just going to turn this around upside down so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to put this on the bottom just to cover up that adhesive there so it doesn't show through. Again, using my Stampin' Seal for this. Works better on top of that plastic. There we go. And so that finishes that off nicely. And then I have another one for the top here. So I'm going to add that. Again, I'm just going to use a strip of Stampin' Seal for this. Add this to the inside. I'm just going up to the very top there, centering it up, and that covers that adhesive. It just finishes that inside off really nice. Alright, so now we have our scene on the inside here. We got our bear, and I don't want a bunch of sticky stuff on the back of my bear. So I'm just going to put him on. I'm going to use a little Stampin' Seal just on the very bottom of his little feet here. And I'm going to add him to the front. There he goes. So he's not really attached all the way, just at his feet, which is fine. Okay, so for the top of our card, I want to use just a strip of that Designer Series paper. And this is 1 by 4 1/4. And I'm just going to glue this on here. I'm going to put it in the middle of this strip up here. There we go. And then I have a little strip of early espresso. This is 3/8 by 3.5. And that's early espresso. And that's just to center up in this middle of this piece here. Kind of give it a look. There we go. Then we can put our fish on. See, this actually comes together pretty fast once you have all the pieces cut and done. Put our little fish in here. You don't get more manly than a bear and a fish on a card, do you? Okay, so I have some brushed metallic adhesive back dots, and I'm using like, they almost have a greenish tint to them. I'm just trying to finish this pack up, but I'm just going to add one of these on each side of this. And then just to finish the bottom, I have a little strip of cardstock here. And it's 1/4 inch by 4 1/4. And I'm just going to add this to the bottom just to give it a little look here. Just to tie into the top. And then we just need to stamp a sentiment on the inside. And if you stamp it up here, then when it's closed, you don't see it. And also, when you go to sign it, I would sign it right behind the bear. But I'm going to use a sentiment from the Wildlife Wonder stamp set, and I'm going to use Early Espresso to stamp it. Says sending birthday wishes. Again, that was with Early Espresso. And guess what? That is our card for today. Didn't it turn out cute? Now you could have put any of those critters on the front there, and that would work the same. So you could make a whole series of these cards. Just adorable. And I think any man would really like this. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you find this of value and it inspires you to get those inks out today. Bye.